computer teacher, or I say I'm a HR manager. That means I have the know-how of managing the human resources, or I say I'm the chief executive of the company. That means I have developed the know-how how to take care of finances, how to take care of plans, how to take care of people, how to take care of infrastructure, how to take care of policies, how to interact with the government, how to interact with various agencies. And I can look at all of them, and what do I do after that? I can take correct decisions, and based on the decisions I take the company forward, and I take it at that level of growth where the management is happy. Otherwise they will kick me out. They don't need me if I am not achieving the growth and development. So that kind of know-how you have to develop from these building blocks. So these are very important. Ultimately it is that you arrive at various procedures, you arrive at various products, you arrive at various actions, you arrive at various policy decisions. If you have developed the know-how, you share your vision, you vision for the things, you take a total conceptual idea about the whole business going on, and you take initiatives and keep the system going, solve the problems which arise from time to time, and also say once the problems are solved, people's contribution will also increase. So like this the system goes on. So that knowledge is the most important knowledge. So everybody has to get into the mode of recording one's experiences, best practices. In such situation I did this and I got these results. My students were of this level, I did these things, I introduced case studies, I introduced these things, I introduced tutorials, I did this and I got these results. So that is why I am quoting is because you are mostly with the educational field. But there are many examples which are relevant for industry and other fields also. So like this you have to go. Good organizations make use of their various procedures, they make use of the experience in project management, inventory management, and so many other fields where they can cut down on waste, they can cut down on so many things which are not useful, because the industry has to be growing, industry has to progress. But in the field of education, you can relate it to your students, you can relate it to your own performance, and you can relate it to the environment of the educational institute. These are, relationship between data, information and knowledge. This has to be kept in mind. Otherwise some people may continue to be at data level only, some people continue to be at information level only and do not arrive at the knowledge level. Many times when I discuss things with people, whether they are from RDIS or any other place, or who come from outside to interact with me, they try to involve me in some kind of knowledge which is no why, some low level knowledge, and they try to involve me in some activities. They keep on telling me small activities. They do not disclose the final result, they do not disclose the final thing, what have you achieved, which is possible only when you have utilized your knowledge and you have arrived at an action plan, and action plan is being implemented, and this is the achievement. This is the achievement. The achievement could be small, but they do not disclose that. So I immediately come to know that here I am dealing with a smart person who is trying to hide more and disclose less. So it is this, because I am aware of this. So one has to understand what is data, what is information, and what is knowledge. So you have to always make effort that you reach the knowledge level. Is it visible from there? That last person. Knowledge has to be, you have to develop that mindset. Out of that experience, data, information which is there with you, you have to derive and write it, and you have to record it. Some people call it lessons learnt, database. It can be recorded. You can open a file in your computer and write 2 lines, 4 lines, 10 lines daily. And it could be small sentences which will be guide to you for future, that in a situation like this thing works, this thing works, this thing works. So lessons learned, best practice, databases, these are so many things which can be recorded. And you have to be a thinking person. You cannot say that you want to acquire knowledge and at the same time remain that happy-go-lucky type के मैंने क्या लेना, मेरा कोई घर का है क्या या गवर्नमेंट का है या किसी का है, ऐसा नहीं. You have to change your thinking. You have to capture that knowledge and you have to be part of that. You have to have it in your mind. You have to always have it in your soul embedded. Then only you become knowledgeable. But if you feel कि अच्छा आज का भी काम हो गया, आज का भी काम चला, आज भी शाम हो गई, चलो 5 बजे घर जाने का टाइम हो गया and फिर कल देखेंगे, so then you are not up, then you are having the weakness. That weakness must be removed. Okay. Okay, let's go to next. Types of knowledge. I think there is some jumbling up.
Yeah, sir.
Yes.
This middle column, this one should be the knowledge, and the leftmost one, it should be information. You should not like that, because
Where is I can understand. Where is that girl? Where is she? I had pointed it out. बैठ जाओ. Where is that? You have changed the column, complete column from this to this and this to this. I asked you to change only the headings. Headings means that information and knowledge. It should go like this and it should go like this. So please, it is going on for the last 1 month. So you're right. This was discussed sometimes back, about a week back. So knowledge, as I explained to you, it's a very, I was also looking hard to capture and hard to this.
because it's often tactic and
No, it's okay, madam. Thank you so much for pointing it out. I knew, but point is that I have made you understand the 3 things. These are certain, relationships which you can establish and talk now. But this we had already seen and pointed it out, but it has not been corrected up to this stage because somebody is just callous on this issue. Now you see tacit knowledge and explicit knowledge. This is also to be very well understood. Now the tacit knowledge is which is inside you. You, through your growth, your background, your experiences, your thinking, and all this is you have drawn some inferences and are recorded in your head. You will, when you speak, when you take action, when you try to say things, what is wrong and what is right, there only it can come out. So that is tacit knowledge. It is well understood by you as a person. It is in your mind. So that knowledge is called tacit knowledge. Whereas explicit knowledge is in the form of recorded, coded things like books, articles, and this kind of things. Whereas in case of, say, organizations which are involved in some other professions, like if you are in project management, for a project, how much material we required, how much manpower we required, what we wanted, how to carry out estimate of various things at the planning stage, what kind of difficulties are there. So all that recorded information about the project, and if required and put in the form of, say, record of your company, that becomes your explicit knowledge. So for a building, for a bridge, for a road project, so what all things were required, how we organized them, and how much could meet the requirement, and what was the sequence of action, what was the operational plan, all those things once recorded and put as information or knowledge about the project. So that knowledge is recorded, so you can call it explicit knowledge. Your procedures here, your processes, once recorded in the form of standard operating procedures, standard operating things, your manuals, your employees manual, your syllabus, curriculum issued by the university, all that is explicit knowledge. You have to know about it. Unless you know this, मेरे को बाकी तो सब पता, बट मुझे तो मालूम नहीं है सिलेबस में है या नहीं. As a teacher, you have to know whether this part is in the syllabus or not. ये मालूम नहीं था मेरी कि अभी क्लास है. तो ऐसा नहीं है. You have to know, okay, your class is there and it is there from this time to this time. आज मुझे थोड़ी शॉर्ट लीव चाहिए थी क्योंकि बच्चा ये है, उधर ये है, वो है, क्लास से बाहर जाओ. These are the things. So that is all in explicit knowledge. And that knowledge, tacit knowledge, has to be, it doesn't come in one day. Explicit knowledge, you can look for a book, you can go to a bookshop, you can go to a library, you can become member of some public libraries or private libraries outside. You can get material from friends, you can get from so many sources. You can get it from intranet, you can get it from internet, you can have access to all those places where things are available in codified, structured, recorded form. So that knowledge you can access. It could be on payment also, on so many sites which say that we are experts in this field and we have this knowledge available, but it is available on payment. So you become member of that and try to access that. You will be given expert knowledge. So that is all explicit knowledge. Tacit knowledge is difficult. It is inside you. So how do you draw tacit knowledge? You as a teacher has to be, say, imparting tacit knowledge. You, with lot of teaching experience, has to impart tacit knowledge to the students. So best way to do that is through various activities. By making activities taking place in your class, by presenting a case study, you are bringing the complete scenario in the form of a codified, say, case, and then trying to interact with the students. And through that interaction, you pass on your experience. And that experience is here and it is getting transmitted to the or disseminated to the students. So this kind of, say, transmission is helpful. So tacit knowledge, more of interactive activities. Explicit knowledge, make the students study, read. Testing whether this transmission or dissemination of knowledge has taken place or not. Naturally, tests, frequent class tests, frequent or examinations of the university, Somebody gets 90%, somebody gets 10%. So you can then understand what has been the level of dissemination. Dissemination means you have to finally, person has to understand. Not that आपने बोल दिया और उसको समझ आया नहीं आया. That is, no, he has to understand. So this tacit and explicit knowledge types make you think of various other methods where you do the dissemination, and there, that is the area where as teachers have to think of that. It's not only that you just make some good slides, read them to the students and say, okay, I taught. I've seen some faculty members doing that and saying that we are the best. They are not the best. Along with the slides, you have to pass on your experience. How do you think of that? What do you think of? So methodology for tacit knowledge is different. Methodology for explicit knowledge is different. And these two methodologies for imparting education and training to the students have to be understood. There are various methods of doing it. So you as teachers have to look into those methodologies. So your methodology, if is not correct, you have to adopt to another methodology. Then third methodology. There are many ways of doing it. You can read this. So through this tacit knowledge is one of the most difficult part, which is personal to the individual. There are certain individuals who do not like to pass or part with the, say, tacit knowledge, because they want to derive, say, advantage by keeping it to themselves, which is a very, very big weakness. Knowledge should never be hoarded, never be kept with you. More you spread, better refinement will take place in you. So those people who carry this notion, okay, why should we part with it, are wrong. When we started, say, implementation of students portal, and I discussed this idea of putting your lectures and these things on the portal, some people came forward and said, अरे भाई ये तो मैनेजमेंट हमसे सारी चीज़ें ले लेगी और फिर हम तो we become redundant. That was a very narrow approach. I'll call it narrow because that's not correct. ये तो आपने पहले ही सुना होगा, ज्ञान तो जितना दो उतना ही बढ़ता है. You sharpen your faculties if you discuss more, talk, impart knowledge. So it was experienced here. It was experienced here because they had a very narrow vision. I'll say tunnel vision. ऐसे ऐसे देख रहा था वो लोग. ऐसे देखना चाहिए. जब ऐसे देखेगा तो क्या बच्चों को पढ़ाएगा? I think most of the fellows have gone out. It was experienced here some times back. It's not that difficult to communicate. Means you have to have a different methodology. You have to participate or make the students participate in various activities. And once you do that, then very intimate discussion has to take place. And through that intimate discussion, the tacit knowledge gets imparted. And once you might have heard that people say, we should have people to teach here from industry. We should have people to teach from different backgrounds, multiple disciplines. It is basically that, because they want to tap their tacit knowledge. If the tacit knowledge is not tapped, then the experience of the earlier generation doesn't get transmitted to the new generation. And they remain you know, not getting that experience and not learning things. These other things are, can't say complex form, ठीक है, it's okay. For the sake of my lecture, what I thought is there, but not very complex. You have to have a suitable methodology for that, for imparting that. Policies, rules, specifications. If you have imparted this knowledge, the real test is that the student or the person to whom it has been transmitted, or as a group to which it has been transmitted, they should be able to utilize it. Utilization test is through what quality of decisions they took after that, after knowing this. If the quality of decisions has improved, that means your knowledge imparted has been useful to them. If they are able to pass the tests, examinations, and they say, okay, they have achieved the results. So that is the test of dissemination effectiveness. Otherwise, it is not imparted. Otherwise, you as a knowledge imparter has not been able to achieve what you should have achieved. So that is where you can, make out certain things. But here I do not attach much importance to this, because you as teachers, you have done your best. You have taught very well. You have used all methodologies. You have done all that. But if the person is not receptive, is not able to receive what you are trying to convey to him, is having his mind somewhere else, and is not imbibing the knowledge, and keeps on thinking of something, half of the time he is absent, he is not having continuity in attendance also. So it is not the teacher only. It is not the teacher only. It has to be equally, effort has to come from the student also. And for learning some of the knowledge or understanding some of the knowledge, the student also must have some experience. Otherwise, student finds it very difficult, because your interpretation has to be understood by the student. The student has to have that kind of maturity. Student has to have that kind of attention. So all that has to be there. So it becomes equal responsibility of the student as well. For school, situation is slightly different. Here we are teaching the postgraduate students. For students, it is totally different from what I have said. Their responsibility is more on the teacher, because teacher has to really understand, because the other chap is gullible. He is innocent. He does not know. He is more interested in something. He wants to go and play outside. So you have to understand that his mind is not here but in the playground. So, but here a student who has come, and after having graduated and post-graduation is doing here, it becomes incumbent on his part to be attentive, experience, paying full attention. So these two things must be understood like that. You can have a look some of the in many job opportunities which are published in the newspapers, and people say we require people with